Hi, I'm Rob Biankin. I'm president and founder of Cabot Guns.
I'm Kyle Alberta, production manager at Cabot Guns.
And today I'm super excited to present a project we recently completed. This represents a sample project of our highest level work that we undertake. And these are normally commissioned projects where we'll have a customer come to us, and collaboratively with the client, we will come up with the idea to make a truly unique pistol, or in this case, a pistol set. Normally they involve rare materials, new techniques which have not been done before, and this is one great example of that.
Yeah, this project was interesting because it was almost an evolution of a couple of unique materials that we worked with previously in previous projects, and we wanted to take them to the next level, and then we also incorporated some new materials that we actually hadn't worked with up to this point.
We've called it Fire and Ice, and it is comprised of a right and left-handed 1911. Let's have a first look. Damascus is something that we've developed a little bit of a specialty of over the last several years. In fact, I think it was in 2013, we made our first gun from Artisan Damascus, and that was a gun with a upper made from Artisan Damascus. And at the time, that set a record for the highest price paid for a non-engraved gun. Since that time, we've learned a lot more about the material. Every piece of Damascus cuts differently. Mm-hmm. And also the finishing of Damascus is something that we've developed a particular expertise in-house. When we do a project like this, yes, it is the guns, but it's the comprehensivity and totality of the project. You can see here there's a really beautiful custom case. It's made by Marvin Huey, who's located in Kansas. The exterior is a Cape Buffalo. You'll see engraved on the cover is the name of the pistol set, which is Fire and Ice. The French fitting around the guns, which is the tailored fitting around the pistols, is at a level of extreme perfection with a deep navy blue interior. And of course, the internal plaque with the name of the pistol set, the details, which are particular to the owner, the specifications, some of the specifications for the pistols, which is highly personalized. So a starting point after the client and I developed the concept of what we're going to make was, okay, now we had to commission the material, and for that we wanted a very beautiful layered, in this case 120 layers of steel, and all stainless steel. So you have to start with the finest ingredients, in this case the finest materials, in order to start developing. And when this comes into the shop, Kyle, this arrives as essentially large billets, approximately this size, big enough to make the slides, the frames, and also the small parts, which is also a distinction. So the client, in this case, was, okay, great. A slide would be fantastic. Mm-hmm. A frame would be even more terrific, but doing the small parts increases the complexity, the difficulty. Making the small parts can be as much or more work than making the large parts. And so from a collector standpoint, 2 guns are more valuable than 1 gun, and usually they're sequentially serialized. But in this case, it is a right and left-handed gun, which makes it even more rare. And the process involves a very, very specialized team that we're fortunate to possess at Cabot here in our shop. And we're vertically integrated, so we can build from the ground up the components and to the tolerances, which are very, very unique in the way we build a gun. So the way we build a gun is also different than any other 1911. That's through the controlling of the precision of every component that goes into the gun. And let's take a close look here. By the way, we check these first. I won't do a safety check here, but safety first, all with handling a firearm. You can see the change in the depth between the layers of steel. If you look at the different components, starting with the thumb safety here, if you zoom in, it's almost like a topographic map. The goal was to let the material express itself. What is the complexity of it? And then elicit that refinement through the finishing process. With the client, we had this idea, okay, let's try a finishing process which we've not done before. Mm-hmm. So typically you can acid etch, and we've had really phenomenal results in the past. we said, okay, great, let's take some risk, and with some risk, you have a reward. So in this case, we applied what we call our black ice diamond finish. This is an additional layer of finish that's done in a vapor chamber that creates, if you're looking at the gun, the nature, the color of it changes as the light hits it. So of course, a set of pistols like this is very difficult to capture in a still image, and the beauty in person. The next material element that we introduced into this pistol set, the bluer material here that is called Timascus. And Kyle, do you want to describe a little bit what Timascus is?
Yeah, it's similar to Damascus in the sense that it is it's a folded metal where you do get differences in each layer. Unlike Damascus, which obviously is a steel, Timascus is derived from titanium. So it's actually layered titanium. When you apply heat to a certain level, it'll actually oxidize on the surface and do like an anodize. And the different titaniums have different properties that show different colors within those heat ranges. So that's the kind of layers that you get to see here. It was a bit of a challenge, and it was fun to learn how to work with that stuff, because it wasn't just make one small part. We were doing multiple grips, multiple triggers, as well as these accessories.
There's a learning curve anytime you try a new material, and there was one in this. And then we also wanted to create a little bit of identity, which was unique. At the back of each slide, typically you'll have cocking serrations, which are some kind of linear or checkered pattern to help you, rack the slide open. In this case, we said, no, let's do something a little bit different. And these are what we call cocking buttons. And they were inspired by our icon model. Mm-hmm. And the idea was, okay, great, we can use this Timascus, giving an offsetting part, but also giving it something that was visually distinct. So the other detail that was really, I think it's remarkable how it's turned out, is the first time we've done this as well. And it's the beautiful sapphires that are at the ends of the magazine releases on these pistols.
Yeah, I mean, it was an idea that came up. Could we inlay a jewel? And sure. Just how do we do it? What's the execution of that? So it ended up becoming kind of an engineering project. We had to establish the concept, make a sample part, see if it worked. With different materials, less expensive materials than this, design a new mag catch that we could affix it to. And then actually go ahead with the real parts.
Right, because bear in mind, this is a mechanical component. It's not just a stone layered on top.
Exactly. So it had to function exactly the same. That is not something we could sacrifice. If you've ever taken a magazine catch out of a pistol, it's one solid piece. So the trick was having both sides blend as they should, but almost look like two different pieces.
One of the things Cabot's known for, and maybe the best thing we've been known for, is a couple of years ago we created a set of pistols called the Big Bang pistol set. And this was a different type of project in terms of developing, understanding structural integrity of the material, using it in a mechanical way, which had not been done before. But since that time, Meteorite has been a little bit of a specialty that we've also developed. And in that regard, we continued the use of Meteorite in a small but also new way on this set of guns here. So in this case, the front and rear sights on each pistol are made from Meteorite. However, just like we did the finish on the pistol itself, it's a black ice diamond finish over Meteorite.
Yeah, Meteorite was a natural fit here. It's kind of become a hallmark for Cabot, sure. Especially on some of these custom builds that we have done here. We're thrilled with how it came out. It protects the Meteorite, and it blends perfectly with the finish on the guns.
With a special project such as an oak project like this, it's fun because there was a trust with the clients. Okay, great. Let's even fill the picture in. So if there's going to be some leftover materials, let's contemplate making some absolutely unique accessories for it. And in this case, that's exactly what we did. So we engaged a custom Knife Makers Guild member, Dan Schnock, to make a knife. And in this case, he made a very elegant fixed knife out of Timascus. And the Damascus blade is from the same billet material as the slide. So you really have a continuity of very special commissioned, materials that were made not only for the guns but the accessories here. And the last and not least of the accessories was the idea to also include a hammer, where the head of the hammer was made from Damascus, which is a very large chunk of Damascus, and that involved the design of the head, which is very, very unique.
And this particular blacksmith, we've done a few projects with now, and have really grown to trust each other. So when this stuff comes in, cutting Damascus is incredibly expensive. You have a lot of time, and you have a lot of money put into cutting a slide, only to find out that it won't work later on. So for us to dive into a project this heavily with frame, slide, small parts, it's an incredible time investment.
The variation in the layers will cause you different tool wear. It'll cause you to change the speed that you cut the steel. And really every piece of Damascus steel has a different learning curve of learning its properties on how it cuts.
Every one of those layers is a different hardness and a different texture than the layer that it's next to. So almost every cut is like an interrupted cut. So when we're running this stuff, you have a man standing next to the machine with his thumb on the stop button the whole time that they're running. This isn't something you can just pop in the machine and go home for the night.
These are not only guns that are obviously beautiful, but from a shooting perspective, these are guns that are capable at shooting under 1 inch at 25 yards.
When we built these guns, in my mind, if they didn't perform as good or better as any other Cabot that we've ever made, we failed. So one of the major challenges was maintaining internal dimensions, which we do through a proprietary masking process, which changes no dimensions internally. Your lockup with the barrel, your frame and slide fit, even the slide stop pin being such a critical dimension that the barrel locates off of. We had to protect that during all of these processes to make sure that it didn't have any dimensional changes, and they would perform every bit as good, as any other Cabot.
So Fire and Ice, this is a privilege to be able to build a gun set like this. It's a process. It's really a bit of a journey. I don't think these could have turned out any better. When we undertake this process, there's no compromise. So in that case, of course, it's very time-consuming and it gets quite costly. We're very proud that if you want the finest pistols in the world, we can do it right here in America. And it's something we take great pride in, and it's something that will be around maybe beyond you and I, Kyle, and the rest of the team.
Yeah, we like to think so, for sure.
And it's an honor to be able to complete these finally and now get them out to their proud owner.